After watching the television show, Who Do You Think You Are?, it started me to wondering, where do I come from? Hi, I'm Donald Leonard Lerma, but everyone knows me as Leo. I live in California, but I was born in Texas, so am I a Texan? My last name comes from Spain, so am I Spanish? My grandparents were from Mexico, so am I Mexican? One look at my face and anyone can see I have Indian blood. So, am I an Indian? Or maybe something in between. I decided to begin my genealogical research with my beloved late mother, Maria Benita Ortiz. But everyone knew her as Benita, or just plain Benny. My mother was born in Laredo, Texas, April the 16th, 1919. Laredo is situated on the border between Texas and Mexico, just across the Rio Grande from Nuevo Laredo. Mexicans crossed a simple footbridge to enter Texas undeterred for generations, bringing with them their language, customs, and culture, as did my grandparents, Encarnacion and Inez Ortiz. By searching the records on FamilySearch.org, I was able to determine that Inez had a brother named Jose Aguilar, and that her parents were Eleuterio Aguilar and Eutemia Ruiz Aguilar. Encarnacion's parents were Francisco Miguel and Paula Gutierrez. Francisco's parents were Doroteo and Maria Andrea. Here, the internet genealogical records become sparse. Although Mexico required the registration of births, deaths, and marriage, civil registration was not strictly enforced until 1867. So the family tree on the Ortiz side of my family currently can only be traced back to Doroteo and Maria Andrea, with their birth dates being approximately between 1758 and 1818. Estimate is based on the birth and death years of immediate family members. I look like my mother, and she looks like her mother. Our Indian ancestry is written clearly in the lines of our faces and the color of our skins. None of the available census records refer to my ancestors as indigenous. Since I know where my grandparents were born, I can assume we are descended from the local Indian populations. Encarnacion and his family are from Monclova, Mexico, and Inez and her families are from San Luis Potosí. So, who were the Indians of these areas? As it turns out, my grandparents may have both been descended from the same tribe. According to historical records, as well as a posting by Gregory Schaff, Ph.D., and director of the Center of Indigenous Arts and Cultures in Santa Fe, the Tlaxcalan, or Tlaxcalteca Indians, were organized in 1591 in a great migration north from central Mexico of 400 families and settled in 5 areas, including Monclova and San Luis Potosí. In a collection of historical documents of San Luis Potosí, written by Primo Feliciano Velázquez, he recounts the history of the Tlaxcalan people. When Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés came to Mexico and set about the conquest of the Aztecs for their gold, he traveled just west of the valley of the Aztec capital, Teotihuacan, and encountered the Tlaxcalan. They were a powerful people and sworn enemies of the Aztec. When Cortés learned of the conflicts between Aztecs and Tlaxcalan, he invited the latter to join him in defeating the rulers of Mexico Tenochtitlan. After an initial refusal, Cortés overpowered and subdued them into an alliance. The Tlaxcalan sent large numbers of warriors to fight and assist Cortés in his conquest of Tenochtitlan. They were later used to fight along with Spaniards in new conquest efforts elsewhere in Mexico and Central America, and to populate new territories conquered by the Spaniards. The Tlaxcalan were a sophisticated people, accomplished as scribes, weavers, farmers, scouts, and warriors. With their aid, the Spanish were able to survive and navigate the New World. Because they ultimately sided with the Spaniards, they were rewarded with special rights and privileges, and many intermarried with their Spanish overlords. They were soon converted to Christianity by the Franciscans, who encouraged their scribes to learn the Arabic alphabet and to preserve their histories and native language of Nahuatl, which was also the language spoken by the Aztec. The 400 Tlaxcalan families resettled as far northwest as Nuevo León and Monclova, and as far north as Texas and New Mexico. Other tribes of northern Mexico include the Huichol Indians of the San Luis Potosí area and the Coahuiltecan group of tribes native to the Nuevo León region. Those are the local Indians from which we may have been descended. The last name of Ortiz is of Spanish ancestry. A number of early notable Spanish settlers bore the surname Ortiz. Most of those early Ortiz arrived in the 1500s to Paraguay, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, and Chile. None of them appear to have settled in northern Mexico, where my grandparents' families are from. Numerous sources cite the meaning and history of the surname Ortiz. Ortiz is thought to be derived from the given or first name Orti. Orti seems to be disputed in meaning, deriving from either the Latin fortis, meaning brave or strong, or the Latin fortunius, meaning fortunate. As I researched the name, I stumbled on the community chat rooms of numerous ancestry websites. One of them mentioned having found the last name Ortiz on a Spanish Sephardic genealogy site. On the website Sephardim.com, a research tool for Sephardic and Jewish genealogy and archived by the Harvard University Library System, they list surnames that are descended from Spanish Sephardic Jewish ancestry. The researchers list an extensive directory of resource materials from which they have drawn the names of Spanish Sephardic Jews. And there, amongst the numerous last names beginning with O, is Ortiz. Could we be descended from Sephardic Jews? I searched the web for articles regarding Jews' migration to Mexico. In an article entitled Jews in Mexico, A Struggle for Survival, Part 1, written by Shep Lenchek, a contributing author to Mexicanet.com, he writes, in 600 A.D., the Visigoth king Ricard forcibly baptized 90,000 of his Jewish subjects and expelled those who would not accept Christianity. In 1479, Ferdinand and Isabella launched a massive campaign to forcibly convert the Jewish population in Spain to Christianity. With the birth of the Spanish Inquisition some 3 years later, the conversos were now accused of secretly practicing Judaism. In 1492, all practicing Jews were expelled from Spain. The conversos were under increasing pressure from the Inquisition. Looking for a place in which they could retain their Spanish identity, they focused on Mexico. In 1531, large numbers of them left Spain and Portugal for the New World. In 1579, the King of Portugal granted land for a colony north of Nueva España to a Portuguese nobleman, Luis de Carvajal, named the Kingdom of Nueva León. Both conversos and practicing Jews, banned in the Spanish colony, were welcome. The most accurate way to determine a person's ancestry is through DNA analysis. On the website DNA Ancestry Project, there is a section entitled The Surname Project, which led me to a website created by Los Angeles native Gary Felix and hosted on tripod.com entitled the genealogy of Mexico. Mr. Felix has made available a database where individuals of Mexican ancestry can post their DNA findings. 5 people with the surname Ortiz have posted their DNA profiles. One of them, from Mexico City, shows Sephardic ancestry, while the remaining 4 show Western European ancestry of Iberian as well as Italian origins. It is important to note that the president of the Family Tree DNA Project has commented that one item for you to be aware of: if you are testing male members of the founding families of Mexico, especially the founding families of northern Mexico, you will probably see a strong percentage of Semitic DNA evidence of crypto-Jews who were among the Spanish conquerors of Mexico from the 1500s. We have clearly seen these footsteps in the testing we have done to date. To determine our true Spanish and Indian ancestry, someone in our family will need to submit to DNA testing.